Greetings, all you mages out there. Duuz-Diz-Din here once again with Fairy Tale: The 100 Years Quest. Previously, Team Natsu returned to Gilatina, traveling to the city of Filad to get information on Gold Owl, as well as Athena, the White Witch. Jalal, being the one to initiate the investigation into the White Witch, has ventured with them as well to see the job done, and Sabretooth has also come to go on vacation. But all is not as it seems, as it is evident that Sai and God Serena informed Gold Owl of Fairy Tale's presence, as all of our heroes have either been ambushed or come into the sights of those who wish to do them harm. Urza and Jalal trapped. Gray and Wendy stalked. Lucy has a mysterious encounter. And Natsu ambushed by a miners' guild. Gagarok. Will the members of Fairy Tale be able to make it through these encounters? Or will the allies and members of Gold Owl bring Fairy Tale to its knees? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, Fairy Tale 100 Years Quest, Chapter 127, Code of the Coal Miner Guild. Oh, jeez. I gotta say, Atsuo has gotten better and better, but there's just some things that he does art-wise that just look wonky. And those kids in the foreground are one of them. But I guess this was when Jalal and Urza were looking through the town. They look towards the future with gentle eyes. This isn't trying to imply them having children, is it? Or is this just a reference to their childhood? Alright, we pick up with Natsu, confronted by the members of Gagarok, the Coal Miners Guild, after having taken out several of their members who tried to ambush them. This is Coal Miner Guild Gagarok Iwashita. Iwashita boasts, "Wizards are nothing but gangly little twigs. Bet I could send you flying with just a sneeze." Natsu thinks of the buff elf man, Laxus, and even the rather portly Deroy, thinking, gangly? Not to mention, Natsu is very svelte, but he's a muscular kind of svelte. Natsu questions, "Anyway, how do you know about our guild?" Iwashita raises his axe, saying, "The Coal Miner Guild's code." His men say, "Right!" Iwashita shouts, "Rule number 1. It's like the genie from Aladdin. "Don't forget to look up, down, left, and right for safety. Our lives are ours to protect." It's like the factory I work in. "Only you can prevent accident. Take your safety into your own hand." Iwashita says, "Rule number 2. Don't forget to check your tools." His men shout, "Our tools are our partners." Then he says, "Rule number 3. Dig, dig, dig like you mean it. Diggy, diggy, dig. Diggity, diggy, 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 diggity. If we don't dig, we're worth nothing." And then with a menacing look in his and his men's eyes, he says, "Rule number 4. Get rid of anything in your way," he says as he brings down his pickaxe on Natsu, who managed to dodge it easily. Oh, but the ground where Iwashita slammed just crumbles away. But Iwashita's not done as he continues to try to strike at Natsu, going, "Say, say, say, say." He then takes some of the rubble that he managed to create and then flings it at Natsu. Natsu continues to easily dodge all of it. If this was Chapter 1 Natsu, this might be a little bit of a challenge, but he's having no hard time with these guys. Natsu questions, "Did I do something?" Iwashita then strikes at a rock with his pickaxe. He strikes again and again and again, saying, "Getting warmer. I'm getting all warmed up. It were forged with alchemy, this here heat pickaxe." And his axe begins to glow. Natsu then says, "Lucy's always telling me try to read the atmosphere a little. Looks like I pissed someone off without knowing it." Oh, he's actually thinking of what Lucy says. But Natsu then says, "But if he's picking a fight, I gotta give him one." He continues to think. Iwashita raises his axe, now radiating heat, saying, "I'm all warmed up now." Natsu says, "Don't you mean all fired up?" Iwashita goes charging in, saying, "You're dead, Sonny." But one of his men says, "Hey, don't kill him. We're supposed to bring him back." But it's too late, as Iwashita brings his pickaxe down on Natsu's face, only for the axe to have melted against Natsu's skin. Much to the bewilderment of Iwashita and his men. Yeah, we haven't seen Natsu just melt things with his pure heat like he did after that, what was it, a year time skip, or was it 2 years? Natsu then says, I got a sneeze coming on. He then sneezes, causing a massive blast of fire to radiate out from him, engulfing Iwashita and his men, and destroying a pretty good chunk of the town, too. And this is why I knew the power-up that Natsu got, where he became immensely overwhelming, was probably going to be a bad thing in the long run, because, great, he's more powerful, but he's also more destructive. Oh, hopefully Makarov won't get the bill, since it's in a different continent. Iwashita and his men stand stunned, burnt to a crisp, as Iwashita's axe just disintegrates in his hands. The cameraman from before who captured Urza and Jalal sees the destruction and the smoke, saying to himself, oh, what's that fuss about? But he then takes the picture from his camera, saying, well, no matter, my work here is done. We take up with Urza and Jalal still trapped somewhere. As Jalal says, what kind of space is this? As they're scrunched together. Jalal then smacks his chin on Urza's breastplate. And she says, sorry, I wonder if I can remove my armor at least. Jalal begins to say, yes, I'm sure. As she uses requip, and her armor disappears, but nothing takes its place. Much to both her and Jalal's shock. Jalal nervously says, don't take off all your clothes. We've gone full perverse. She was just trying to remove her clothes for something softer, but didn't think that maybe, regular, softer clothes was a better fit. Urza embarrassed says, you're right, what was I thinking? She then summers her clear heart clothing, the one with the, breast wrap and her hair tied in a ponytail and her long pants and stuff. And she confidently says, this should be better, with Jalal's face still in her cleavage. But Jalal then questions, wait, Urza, you can use magic in this space? Urza says, it seems like it. Maybe we can use it to escape. Meanwhile, we pick back up with Gray and Wendy walking the streets as Sai spies on them. It's hard to tell. It kind of feels like Wendy might notice that he's back there, but I'm not sure. I mean, her hearing's good enough that she should be able to tell. He's not even a block away from them. Sai slowly approaches them from behind, saying, alright, he's finally away from his buddies. I won't make the same mistake twice. I'm gonna switch you with materials. He then uses material bond on them. And one moment, Gray, Wendy, and Carla are there. The next moment, they're swapped out with gems. But swapped out where? Oh, they've been transformed into objects. Gray says, what the? Carla says, our bodies. Wendy adds, we became jewels. Meanwhile, in the nearby jewel stores, people are freaking out as the bodies of Gray, Wendy, and Carla are just there as they shout, yeah, people showed up out of nowhere. Jeez, okay. Before I wasn't sure how powerful Sai's abilities were, but if he could do this, jeez, how do you counter this? Maybe it would take Wendy's, enchantment magic to undo the, alchemy spell? Whatever. I mean, this is kind of a type of equivalent exchange almost, but it's more of an exchange period, the swapping of bodies. Sai picks up the gem members of Fairy Tales, saying, now I just gotta collect these jewels and change them back at HQ. As he walks off, he says, that was easier than I thought. I wonder how the rest are doing. Catching them. We then pick back up in the alley where Lucy had met the fortune teller, and we see that she managed to gas Lucy and Happy, and she's wearing a gas mask saying capture complete. Let's be real. The fact that all the others were captured using tricks and Natsu got the dudes who used brute force, like those guys, the guys from Gaga Rock drew the shortest end of the straw. Because of course Natsu would easily overcome a physical opponent. You can't use brute strength against Natsu. We pick up at the end as Natsu's sitting by himself saying, they're late. I can't believe everyone got lost. He's there with the members of Sabretooth. As Sting says, I'm surprised. You'd think Natsu would be the one to lose track of time. Lecter says Urza especially knows how to be punctual. Rogue adds, I'm a little worried. Not a single one of them came back. Frost adds, Fro thinks so too. Yukino says to them all, let's go look for them. But Minerva says, wait, there's one thing I'm more curious about than anything. Natsu, you said you were entangled with a coal miner guild party. Natsu says, yeah, I burned them all up though. Minerva adds, so they confirmed you were from Fairy Tail before picking a fight with you. Moreover, they possessed weapons forged with alchemy. Yeah, Minerva, like, thank you for being the smart one in the room. It's just like, Natsu wouldn't have figured this out by himself. He even says, what's bothering you? It's like, Natsu. Minerva says to the others, this afternoon, I'm sure you noticed something while we were out in the city. Frost states, there were lots of holes. Rogue explains those are coal mines. Lecter says there were a ton of jewel shops too, yep. With Sting also adding, and that's not all, there were a ton of pharmacies. Minerva explains, yes, the city deals in many materials used for alchemy. As I suspected, one might say this city has a deep connection to Gold Owl. Natsu says, what's that supposed to mean? Natsu, keep up, please. Minerva explains, questions, what if the entire city had been watching Fairy Tail by the order of Gold Owl? Natsu questions, for what? Minerva says, that much I don't know. However, the city moves by Gold Owl's orders. As a result, Natsu fought off his opponents while the others were done in. Sting's shocked, saying, that's stupid. It wouldn't be that easy for Urza and Gray to get. Rogue says, you're right. I don't think they could beat them either. But Minerva explains, our enemies are alchemists. Unlike wizards, they are not enemies within our current level of comprehension. Again, like I said before, it's like, the coal miners, they had weapons made with alchemy, but those weapons could be broken. Everybody else, they used techniques or special devices all before anyone could act. Natsu is shocked by this, as Yukino questions, why would Gold Owl do that to Fairy Tail? Sting states, it's cause they're a guild that's done too much. Lecter says, I wouldn't be surprised if one of them holds a grudge. Natsu remembers one of the members of Gagarok was trying to tell Aoshita, hey, don't kill him, we're supposed to bring him back. Natsu tells the others, were they caught? Much to the shock of everyone else. He says, it's something one of those guys said. They were gonna capture me. He hits the bed saying, those bastards. And Natsu then goes to go racing out of the inn saying, I'm gonna go save you. Sting then calls out, wait a minute. Rogue explains, you're the only one in Fairy Tail left. With Sting explaining, Sabretooth is gonna lend you a hand. Yay, Sabretooth is gonna do something! But Natsu says, nah, I don't want to join Saber. Sting shouts, no one's letting you join. Rogue adds, we don't feel that way either. And Frost also adds, Fro too. Originally I was feeling like the addition of Sabretooth was going to be a little bit of overkill, but this is good. And I like the fact that, everybody else wasn't taken out by brute force. It was something they couldn't see coming. They didn't know that the enemy knew they were headed to Guillotina, that they'd be around. I like that the Alchemist Guild has connections throughout the city, and those connections moved. Fairy Tail didn't know how on guard they should have been. And it also tracks that the physical threat was easily dealt with. Good stuff. Good storytelling, in my opinion. And there's also, like I said previously, there's a potential for the others to make their way out of their situation. I feel like Wendy should be able to dispel what Sai did, but there's potential she won't. Jalal and Urza are trying to figure out their situation, thinking, okay, Urza's still able to use her magic within the prison that they're in, so maybe they can use that to their advantage. I like the fact that they're still thinking. And Lucy and Happy are just tied up. I mean, I would hope that Lucy could maybe get her way out of that, but it's just a matter of waking up. And this also is a good chance for Sabretooth to get in on some action. It's like, man, you got a perfectly good Sabretooth here, you might as well use him. But let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Do you feel this setup is a little too much and overblown? Or do you think this is a good angle of things, and you're happy to actually see Sabretooth get in on some of that action? Or would you have preferred them to immediately start dealing with Gold Owl? I personally like the fact that we're building up the continent more and more. This feels like a wider spread adventure rather than just, we just passed through this town and immediately set out on our journey from there. It wouldn't be a challenge if there were no hiccups or hang-ups, But that's just my opinion. Let me know yours. Also remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. And until then, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din. I want you to take care, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.